First impressions are always important, and if there's one thing Sonic games are good at, it's presenting a bright, colourful, and awesome beginning level for a majority of its titles throughout the many years. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at exactly that, so join me as we count down the top 10 opening levels in Sonic the Hedgehog games. There won't be many rules this time round, as all games are included, both main series and spin-offs, and the first level includes all of the acts in that one area, including the boss fight. With that, let's get right on with the list. Though Sonic R is commonly looked down upon as an awful game, you cannot deny that its opening level, Resort Island, is anything short of memorable. The game begins with literal sunshine and rainbows, a bright and colourful first track that contains the most memorable song Sonic R has to offer. Can you feel the sunshine? Come on, you know you want to sing it. Despite the colourful visuals and cheesily awesome soundtrack, Resort Island falls short on both design and content, sadly affected by R's awful controls. The tight turns and platforming made even more difficult by the tank controls the game has. Despite this, Resort Island was an interestingly designed level with enough charm to just make it onto the list, even if Sonic R left much to be desired. Sonic Heroes begins with your classic Green Hill Beach area, combining elements from other levels and original sections to form an interesting beginning to the game. Seaside Hill introduces everything Heroes will throw at you, such as cannons, platforming, obstacles that involve switching between the three characters you control, and rail and speed sections, all the while remaining fun to play. Seaside Hill not only contains sections where you can smash the hell out of everything, but wide and expansive speed sections that allow you to reach maximum speeds, unlike later levels in the game which are more congested. While bettered by the levels it takes from, Seaside Hill was a nice beginning to Sonic Heroes. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 had big shoes to fill, considering the massive success of its predecessor. As a result, its first level, Emerald Hill Zone, takes much from the original Green Hill Zone, and though not quite achieving the magic of its inspiration, Emerald Hill still serves as a nice start to an awesome game. Though the two acts are capped off with one of the most hilariously pathetic bosses in all of Sonic history, Emerald Hill serves as an effective tutorial for things to come, and a nice way to start the game. The level doesn't introduce much, keeping the same basic formula, but that's all it needs to do. Emerald Hill is simple, and still keeps the platforming and loops that we all know and love, and that was enough. Sonic Rush is my all-time favourite Sonic game, and for good reason. It capitalises on Sonic's main purpose, speed. The game is filled to the brim with fantastically designed levels, all designed to allow the player to go as fast as possible, while still containing platforming sections and epic boss fights. And no level utilises this better than the beginning of the game, Leaf Storm. From start to finish, Leaf Storm contains impressive amounts of loops, twists and turns throughout its jungle landscape, which is then capped off with a simple yet effective boss fight of the Egg Hammer Mega, which doesn't take too long to beat, but continues the epic satisfaction and enjoyment that Leaf Storm gives the player. And it's only level 1. Though Sonic 3 and Knuckles' Mushroom Hill was a nice introductory level, it was certainly better by the beginning of the original Sonic 3, Angel Island Zone. Instead of serving as a wannabe Green Hill, Angel Island begins with Sonic and Tails travelling on the tornado, and then Sonic goes hyper and leaves Tails to work out what to do next. Everything seems normal until Knuckles shows up, attacks the blue blur, and steals the emeralds. And from there the game begins with only one goal in mind: get the emeralds back. Thankfully, Angel Island begins this quest in a fantastic way, with a level filled with platforming, challenging enemies to battle, and new features such as swings, while still keeping the fan favourite loops. The level sports a tropical theme, and is quite appealing to look at. Well, until the whole thing gets set on fire, that is. The second half of the level becomes a race against time as the player has to escape the burning island, battling the robot that set fire to it in the first place, escaping from an airship, and finally battling Eggman by the end of it. Angel Island is not only awesomely designed, but an incredibly eventful stage for a first level. Though horrifically dated at this point in time, it cannot be denied that Sonic Adventure was absolutely amazing at the time, and will forever be remembered as an amazing experience, thanks in part to its first level, Emerald Coast. Beginning on a beach, Emerald Coast takes the player on a journey from an impossibly large boardwalk to a mountain area and back, complete with springs, winding turns, and of course loops, all fantastically executed in Sonic's first proper 3D outing. And of course, who could forget the memorable chase with the Orca, which relentlessly chases the player in a tense and unexpected segment of the level, which appears out of seemingly nowhere. From there, the calm atmosphere resumes once again, and Sonic continues his journey through a level that never stops being awesome from beginning until end. Admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of Sonic Colors, as I personally thought the game was brought down heavily by the Wisps, much like how Sonic Unleashed was tainted by the Hedgehog. More on that later. The first level of Sonic Colors is Tropical Resort, a bright, colourful, and beautiful level that shows off the best of Eggman's theme park. With Earth in the background, the resort contains a multitude of obstacles to overcome, though also providing areas for Sonic to let loose and speed ahead. Yet another level that combines 3D and a side perspective, Tropical Resort is an awesome level, one that is just as awesome to play as it is to look at. It was a perfect demonstration of things to come, and displayed the very best Colors had to offer. The developers must have agreed that it was awesome, since you spend 6 whole acts in it. The beginning level of Sonic Unleashed is all you can ask for a level from Sonic. Wide, open areas that allow for speed, the heart of Sonic games. Windmill Isle, the first level of the game, achieves exactly this, beginning with an open field area that allows the player to speed through it as fast as they can, before moving on to the outskirts of the town, though still allowing the player to tear through the level at lightning speed. The second act takes a more 2.5D approach, taking the player into the town and containing various enemies and obstacles to avoid, all of which are so satisfying to get past should you time your button presses right. The level also contains plenty of rails, and though only offering the standard obstacles as opposed to the more gimmicky levels later in the game, Windmill Isle is a beautiful level that is both satisfying and awesome to play, one that is not only my favourite level in all of Unleashed, but also one of the best opening levels in any Sonic game. Too bad it was ruined with this thing. Of course, the level that started it all, Green Hill Zone. Featuring bright and vibrant colours, level design that accommodates for both platforming and speed, and an iconic design that every gamer knows, there was simply no better way to start off the entire franchise than with Green Hill Zone. The level is simple in design, because that's all it needs to be. Green Hill serves as a tutorial level and a display of things to come. The level is so iconic that it has been remade several times in many other Sonic games, and while some have been successful, none have been able to match the pure awesomeness of the very first, and contain the things that made it so iconic in the first place. It proves that the original is still the best. All but for one, that is. But before we get to number 1, I thought we should take a look at some honourable mentions that just didn't make the list.
Nice job! Okay!
Out of any opening level in any Sonic game, it cannot be denied that City Escape is not only the most memorable, but also the most fun to play. The action begins immediately, with Sonic escaping captivity by throwing himself out of a helicopter. Grabbing a board, the level opens with Sonic skating down the city at lightning speeds, smashing into cars and anything that gets in his way, running on walls, grinding on rails. The action and excitement never stops in this level, from start until finish. With Gun after you, the level is littered with robots to fight, though they serve as no obstacle as Sonic speeds his way through this level. City escape is then capped off with a heart-pounding truck chase, which sees Sonic making as much distance as he can from his pursuer, who apparently is so persistent that it can drive on walls. But who needs realism? Listen to that music! A heart-pounding, exciting, fantastically designed level, filled to the brim with action, City Escape is undoubtedly the best opening level in any Sonic game. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and comment if you enjoyed, and let me know if there were any levels I missed that you thought should be on the list. Also be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to keep up to date with future videos. And if you like Sonic, I have plenty more videos where that came from. Thanks, and I will see you in the next video. Diamond Bolt out.